What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to be reacting to my 2021 NFL predictions. So prior to the season beginning, I kind of went out there and I did off-season recap, and at the end of those off-season recaps per division, I kind of went and said, all right, you know what, let's do predictions for how I think the standings will look. I didn't go into all that much detail. I didn't do records, but let's just kind of go into it. So I'm just simming a Pro Bowl here because I don't want to continuously just keep doing the, two teams. So let's go with the Pro Bowl. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have my videos in the background here, and I have them set up so right when I press play, it's going to kind of start to show the standings, my predicted standings. But I haven't looked at these predicted standings yet, so I'm not sure who I had where. The only two things I definitively remember are both in the NFC, and I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go with the AFC first. I'm gonna go East, North, South, West, and then I'll go NFC East, North, South, West. So without further ado, let's begin. So I did a dry run earlier, and I know that I'm able to at least hear the volume perfectly fine. So you'll be hearing me in the background here. So here we go. So this is going to be the AFC East, and I'll probably lower the volume a little bit when we get there, and then we'll just kind of go, all right. So anyway, let's start off with the AFC East here. Hopefully.
How do I have them all finishing this year? The exact same.
All right. So I had Buffalo finishing first, Miami second, New England third, New York fourth. So I mean, very, very accurate to an extent. Buffalo did go on to win this division. New England and Miami did flip-flop, obviously, so solid, all things considered.
Buffalo should be able to run away with this division once more.
Yeah, I thought Buffalo should be able to run away with the division, but I was
be like a one or two games to separate.
I was high on Miami, so I kind of thought Miami was going to make it more competitive. Yeah.
It's very tough to look at them. I think Tua.
Yeah, I was high on Tua. I kind of thought that Miami was just going to be able to eke out New England just because I thought Tua had more potential than Mac Jones did as a rookie. I was spot on with the Jets getting last place, though. I mean, new head coach, new rookie quarterback. Essentially, I mean, to me, I'd still agree with that. I would still make the exact same picks here. So again, to recap, I had Buffalo winning the AFC East, Miami coming in second, New England third, New York fourth. So, I mean, pretty accurate.
They're going to end the season hot. It's going to come down to can Miami just stay.
What's actually pretty funny is I did say for the Dolphins that start off and end the season hot, but the middle of the year would be like the make it break it. And realistically, yeah, they did start off hot, I guess. They started 1-0, but then they went on a big losing streak, then they capped that with a big winning streak. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like, all right, yes and no.
The whole year. Team, don't get me wrong, but
and
I just don't see them competing for a division title this year.
For the Patriots,
2022 will be your time to shine. It all depends on Zach Wilson.
Yeah, for the Patriots, I'm like, yeah, Bill Belichick led team, you can't ignore him. And for the Jets, you can't compete this year. I was spot on. So, AFC North here. Let's see.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they go this year.
So,
I have Cleveland winning this division. Baltimore coming in second. Pittsburgh coming in third. Cincinnati, unfortunately, but I'm staying in the basement.
Oh my gosh. I got the AFC North dead wrong here. So I had the Cleveland Browns winning the AFC North, Baltimore coming second, Pittsburgh third, Cincinnati fourth. That's something. That is something. I mean, no one was really expecting the Bengals to go from 4-11-1 to a Super Bowl team. So a lot of the predictions did indeed have the Bengals near the bottom. It wasn't just me doing that. So I don't feel horrible about completely whiffing on the Bengals. But Cleveland and Baltimore both just struggled, both mostly due to injuries. Cincinnati stayed relatively healthy, but I'm not going to discredit them. They've done great this year, obviously. Pittsburgh played well enough in a weak division, excluding Cincinnati, where they were able to capitalize, get some wins, and go into the Pro Bowl or go into the playoffs with a decent record.
Cincinnati,
so
young, talented team, but this division is so stacked they're not going to be able to compete.
Interesting. So I was right. Cincinnati, young, talented team, strong division, not going to work in their favor.
Pittsburgh, I have them sliding in part because I don't necessarily trust that they're going to be able to figure out a lot of the problems that they have. Hopefully, Najee Harris helps them establish a run game more than James Conner did. Hopefully, having Frymouth in the offense is a key plus. But they really are relying on Ben Roethlisberger staying healthy. It's that simple.
Pretty accurate there too. I mean, I was right. Najee Harris needed to step up. Pat Freiermuth needed to step up in order to have a good year. Both of them did. Obviously, Harris did more so than Freiermuth, but both of them stepped up when they needed to. That's what they wanted. The offense did kind of rely on Big Ben staying healthy. Obviously, he's retired now, but
succeed at the time when they need to.
Baltimore.
Past decade, so, but they never seem to succeed at the right time. We'll have to see what they can do, but
yeah.
Hopefully they can figure it out. I'd love to see Lamar get a championship.
So for the Ravens, I kind of said, they're a team that gets hot, but once you get close to the playoffs, they cool off. Pretty accurate. I don't predict injuries, obviously. It's never fair to do that. You can't ever really predict injuries.
I think that they're going to figure this is a team that drove Kansas City.
And at this point in time last year, you got to remember, everyone was high on Cleveland because they almost were able to knock off Kansas City in the divisional round, which would have set them up for a conference title championship game against Buffalo. But the Browns, I mean, they just had so many injuries. Of course, Baker was clearly playing hurt, and the running game was non-existent because all their backs were hurt. But all in all, I mean, I predicted Cleveland first, Baltimore second, Pittsburgh third, Cincinnati fourth. Dead wrong in the AFC North. I'll give myself a good grade for the AFC East. North, heck no. All right, AFC South. So
I have the teams doing this year. I
had Indy winning the AFC South, Tennessee coming second, Jacksonville third, Houston fourth.
Tennessee to win this division.
Yeah.
I got Indy over Tennessee. I'm obviously a big believer. I'm a fan of Carson Wentz. You probably know this. I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah, so why? Okay, so I was still high on Wentz at that point, and I thought that, Philly was just the problem for Carson Wentz. I thought Carson Wentz was going to be able to rebound in a new system, reunited with Frank Reich, his OC, during the 2017 season, where he was essentially going to be MVP had he not torn his ACL, LCL. But, it clearly just Wentz is at this point a game manager more than anything.
Not going to keep doing it, but this team tied Tennessee last year.
So
and they had Phillip Rivers, the shell of Phillip
yeah.
Rivers, as their quarterback. Wentz at least brings, but I think the risk is worth the reward. I think Indianapolis will be a team that makes a run.
Interesting.
I don't see them winning more than 13 games, though. I think 13-4 is their absolute ceiling. I think realistically, you might be looking at a 12-5 season. Tennessee.
Okay, so I'm kind of surprised I didn't even bother to mention Jonathan Taylor. I was just so high on Wentz that I didn't even bother to mention Taylor or their strong defense, but that's where we're at. I was too high on Wentz at that point. I still like Carson Wentz, the person, but Carson Wentz, the player, I mean, he's borderline undraftable in fantasy. The contract makes him that much worse, too, for real life.
It's a very good team. I praise their offense, but their defense does scare me a little bit.
That's still relatable to me. So, spot on. I said I like their offense. I don't like their defense for Tennessee. I agree with that still to this day. Their defense is better than I was giving them credit for. But, outside of a couple decent players, the defense is still a bit of a liability. I mean, I like Justin Simmons, of course, but the defense still doesn't freak me out. And the addition of Julio Jones on paper was good. In reality, couldn't stay healthy, so
they're getting Jacksonville. I love what Trevor Lawrence offers.
Yeah, okay, so I already basically remember what I said for Jacksonville. I was kind of like, yeah, Jacksonville I'm taking a chance here, but, I like the potential of Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer. Obviously, Urban Meyer completely failed and backfired, didn't even make it one full season, mostly due to not, just because the team sucked wasn't why they got rid of him. He did off-field stuff. We did a whole video discussing that, but yeah, Jacksonville over Houston. Houston, just a complete mess. We all know the whole situation with Deshaun Watson. So I was kind of like, yeah, the fact that you're just completely doing this whole thing with Deshaun Watson is very concerning. So that's why I had Houston coming in last. Obviously, how the division ended in real life. So Tennessee did beat Indianapolis, and they actually went on to win the 1 seed, so I was a little off on Tennessee. I was too high on Indy, more than off on Tennessee. And then Houston did jump Jacksonville. Houston won 4 games, Jacksonville only won the 2. Jacksonville clinched themselves the first overall pick for the 2nd year in a row. Obviously not a good thing, especially for a team that made the AFC Championship game only, at this point, 4 seasons ago, I guess you could say? Yeah, 4 seasons ago, because it was a 17-18 season. So that's concerning. They've really just fallen off a cliff. One thing I was a little concerned about Tennessee, though, was the fact that they did lose Jonnu Smith. So I didn't mention that, but their corners mostly left too. Obviously, you lost Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson, but it is what it is. All right, AFC West. So without even looking, I can already tell you I have Kansas City winning this division. That was pretty much no-brainer. I was actually nervous at the beginning of the year for Kansas City. They started off pretty cold, but they did rebound. They got hot, but obviously Cincinnati seems to be their kryptonite right now. I don't know if Taylor's just able to outcoach Andy Reid or if it's just the way their team is built. But anyways,
how do I have them finish?
Let's see.
I had Kansas City winning this division once.
So I had Kansas City winning the AFC West, LA coming in 2nd, Denver 3rd, Las Vegas 4th. I can already tell you I completely underestimated the Raiders. I just didn't give Carr enough credit. He's a very consistent quarterback. I wasn't expecting, obviously, Hunter Renfrow to step up the way he did. And obviously, the whole Henry Ruggs situation, I don't even know if I mentioned him, but that's just a huge damper. The fact that they made the playoffs, I was very impressed. The fact that 3 teams from this division should have made the playoffs, right at you, sorry, LA, but you cost yourself a playoff berth by calling a timeout there. So, I mean, there's that. But Kansas City, obviously, Mahomes, one of the best players in the league's history, arguably. So there's that you got going for him. But, I mean, I was excited for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I have lost. Kansas City's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Mahomes is healthy now. He still has the same supporting cast he had. Should be able to break out this year.
Yeah.
Crossed at least with a new offensive line. They have some players to help out.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Kelce is just, he doesn't look like he's getting any older, so...
So, yeah, basically praising Kelce. Travis Kelce is going to probably start showing his age. Maybe not, hopefully not 2022, but he should start to show his age soon. I mean, he's been so good for so long. He's such a dominant player. So, and then you got Tyreek Hill, of course.
I have Los Angeles making a leap here.
Now, I was high on LA. I'm a huge fan of Herbert. I don't know if I mentioned it in this video. Maybe I should have it running. Yep. I'm a believer in Justin Herbert. Still am to this day. I still am a huge fan of Herbert. I know he has the capability to lead this team to a Super Bowl. Obviously, Chargers fans have been waiting for a Super Bowl for the team's whole existence. Never won one. But, I mean, they're a talented team. The defense, I didn't even give them enough credit. But I'm high on the Chargers defense. Denver, to me, I just kind of had Denver in this position where I was low on the Raiders, and the Broncos I was just kind of neutral on. So, I mean, I kind of believe, obviously, he did, but the receiving core just wasn't cutting it with him for whatever reason. The two just couldn't seem to gel. Drew Lock obviously didn't do anything for them. Vegas, I was too cold on. I already discussed this. So the way the division actually ended, Kansas City won the division. Las Vegas came in 2nd, Los Angeles 3rd, and then Denver came in last. But Denver still had a solid season, all things considered. All right. Now we're in the NFC, and we're going to start with the NFC East. And I can already tell you right off the bat that I know I had the Eagles finishing last in the NFC East. And I'm pretty sure I must have had Dallas winning, so let's see.
How do I think these teams are going to do this year?
Yep.
Dallas winning the division, Washington coming in 2nd, New York in 3rd, and Philly in last. Now, basically, Dallas looked like they were going to win this division earlier in the year.
Yeah, so I had the same thought process with Dallas that most people did. Dallas wasn't such a red-hot offense to start 2020, but then Dak got hurt, and the offense cooled off when Andy Dalton took over. And that was always going to happen. I mean, it's Andy Dalton. There's a reason not Chicago. There's a reason that Cincinnati was like, goodbye, buddy. We don't even want you as a backup. So, there's that. I was high on Zeke, high on Pollard. The defense, I wasn't expecting to do that good, but to me, the way I looked at it, the NFC East was such a joke. I had no thought process in the NFC East. Like, I'm like, Dallas is going to win this division by default.
And then Dak got hurt.
I had the Washington football team coming in second. So I was high on the defense. So kind of the exact opposite as Dallas. I thought the Washington defense was going to step up, and they didn't at all this year. The defense just was atrocious in Washington. I mean, that was going to happen. They have a solid D-line, but the D-line got hurt and just started to struggle, and of course we saw they're fighting with one another. Not a good sign. New York, I kind of was looking at the Giants, and I get hyped up on the Giants. I got a friend who's a big Giants fan, and we'll always talk back and forth, and he'll always hype me up about the Giants and the Eagles, and I always kind of have a more pessimistic viewpoint, so I'm always kind of like, yeah, well, you know, the Eagles, new head coach, blah, 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 but for him, he just got me so hyped up on the Giants before I recorded this video that I had them above the Eagles. Realistically, I probably shouldn't have, but I thought Daniel Jones was going to be able to do good this year, so he did decent before in the first couple weeks, but then he just completely fell off a cliff. The whole receiving core got hurt for the third year in a row at this point. Kadarius Toney I was high on. He was high on. He got me super excited about Toney. He failed to catch a touchdown this year. I don't know if that's really his fault. He couldn't stay healthy. He dealt with like 3 or 4 different injuries, which included a stint on the reserve list for a certain event. But, I mean, yeah, there's that. In Philadelphia, my concerns are pretty clear. I can already tell you right now. I wasn't excited about Jalen Hurts as quarterback. He can't throw a deep ball. I stand by that claim to this day. And I will stand by that claim for a while now. Retrospect, maybe I should have been a little higher on him, but running game, same thing. I wasn't the biggest fan of. Receiving game, I was a little lower on Devontae Smith than maybe I should have been, but it is what it is. And the defense, I was high on, but I kind of, pumped the brakes. First-year defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, who is very close, apparently. He's considered one of the top for the Houston Texans coaching job, so we'll see what happens. Now we'll go to the NFC North.
How do I have the 2021 season going? Green Bay should run away with this division again.
Spot on. So I should have mentioned for the NFC East how the division ended up, which of course was Dallas winning, Philly second, Washington third, New York fourth. Now for the NFC North here, so the way I had them ending is Green Bay winning, Minnesota second, Chicago third, Detroit fourth. Exactly how it went. I mean, Detroit, they ended the year hot. We're going to go from bottom to top here. Detroit ended the year hot, but I mean,
they want to keep Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He is the reigning MVP.
So Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, I probably should have just started with Green Bay. It's easier. So Green Bay, I basically said Aaron Rodgers reigning MVP. This was after the whole will he return drama that was going on in the AFC with Aaron Rodgers. So I kind of thought, Green Bay is going to do whatever they can to get him back. They need him back. He is their face of the franchise right now. And they did. They got him happy. They traded for Randall Cobb at some point during the season. Obviously, that trade didn't necessarily work because he couldn't really stay healthy. But it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, all right, in hindsight, I was spot on with that. The defense played better than I thought they would. Minnesota,
I do have them jumping Chicago this year. I just think Chicago is a bit more, they're going to eventually give Fields a chance, and that's going to hurt them for 2021. But
there we go. Okay. All right. That's what I kind of figured I was going to say. So I wasn't high on Minnesota. I was just kind of like, Chicago's going to put Fields out there. I'm pretty sure when I was recording the video or doing my research for it, I had them as like a coin toss for who was going to do better, Minnesota v. Chicago. And I went with Minnesota just because I had a feeling that Chicago was going to trot out Justin Fields to kind of get him ready because he's, of course, their future. Andy Dalton's a placeholder. And they put Fields out quicker than I thought they were going to. And he struggled, but rookie quarterbacks typically struggle. You're not going to have look at the last time we had a rookie quarterback who really go off Justin Herbert did it last year. Joe Burrow was doing it last year. This year, you can make a case maybe for Mac Jones of the 5 rookie quarterbacks. 6 rookie quarterbacks, including Davis Mills, that actually played a decent amount of games. Sorry, Ian Book. Mac Jones didn't really go off. 2019, Kyler did okay, but he didn't necessarily go off. 2018, Lamar went off more as a runner. 2017, I mean, Josh Allen did decent in 2017, but he wasn't the full-time starter. Mahomes, of course, only started the last game of 2017, so that's why I was lower on Chicago. Minnesota obviously had a complete collapse this year. Both of these teams did fire their head coaches and general managers, so it's interesting to look back at that. The Bears had kind of like brought in some Eagles guys. It didn't work out for them, but it is what it is. Detroit, I mean, I kind of just said Detroit's going to sink. I don't even need to listen to what I said about Detroit, because Dan Campbell, I will give the man credit. He did better than I was thinking he was going to do, in part due to the fact that he's just, he was able to rally his troops, and that's what you want in a coach. If your coach isn't able to get you, if you're not able to get Andy Reid or one of these other types of coaches, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, a big name coach, you want someone who's going to be able to rally the troops, keep them excited, or whatever they were. You want your coach to be like, all right, guys, we got this. This is our game. We are going to win. You don't want your coach to be like, okay, guys, let's focus on, let's focus on the game. That's not what you want to do. So, all right. So now we're in the NFC South. And, of course, this was the division where, surprisingly, in 2020, New Orleans did beat Tampa Bay. You think about it, like, even me looking back right now, if you ask me off the top of my head, who won the NFC South in 2020, I'd probably say Tampa. And I'd be like, oh, wait, no, it was New Orleans. Because, of course, Tampa went on and won the Super Bowl. So let's see what I said.
How do I have them doing this year? I have Tampa Bay jumping New Orleans to win this division, and have Atlanta jumping Carolina to finish third.
Okay.
Tampa Bay, this team looks like it's ready to go.
Yeah, so Tampa Bay, win now mode, of course. I thought they were in win now mode, and they were in win now mode. They were ready to go. They were ready to fire on all cylinders. Of course, you had Tom Brady on the team, and now, of course, Brady's retired, officially retired. He could always come back, but it's not likely. I mentioned Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, the running back game. So the Bucs, I kind of had them as potential Super Bowl favorites at this point. So there's that. New Orleans, of course, struggled this year, but that was mostly due to injuries with their whole team in particular, specifically on the offense and the defense, actually. Defense had a good amount of injuries now that I think about it. So that was the problem with New Orleans. Taysom Hill is not a franchise quarterback. Jameis Winston is better than him, but he can't stay healthy. I mean, if we can get a healthy Jameis Winston, who's, of course, pending free agent, back in New Orleans, it's a high chance. But I personally think that you're going to see, if there's a trade of a quarterback, I think Aaron Rodgers / Russell Wilson will try to go to New Orleans and or Pittsburgh. So, I mean, New Orleans is definitely a hot team to go to. Alvin Kamara, of course, missed a chunk of time this year. Michael Thomas didn't play a single snap. So that was always kind of the rumor going into the season, that Thomas wasn't going to play.
Definitely going to be good to go. This team
has
one more good year left in the tank. They want to win.
There we go. Yeah, so I did say with Tampa, you got one more year left.
New Orleans, I have them regressing slightly just because they lost Drew Brees. Jameis Winston is such a question mark when it comes to quarterback play. He'll have a game where he'll get you.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's going to work with the Saints offense full time. Especially also with Michael Thomas starting the year on the PUP. There's rumors going around that he may not even play at all in 2021. So we're going to have to see what happens with that.
Now, if I had my camera, you would have seen me. I kind of nodded my head because I did kind of say that. I thought I said that. There were rumors with Thomas not playing at all in 2021. And I remember the guy who told me, he texted me. He was like, hey, yeah, there's rumors of Michael Thomas not even playing in 2021 because he's so upset with the whole Saints organization. So there's that going on. Kind of crazy. And then I had Atlanta over Carolina. Atlanta, I gave him the edge over Carolina just because Matt Ryan being Sam Darnold. I mean, no brainer, right? But other than that, I was also pretty excited about Kyle Pitts joining the team. So there's that. How the division actually finished. So I actually got it spot on. The Buccaneers did win this division. New Orleans came in second. Atlanta third. Carolina fourth. So pretty impressive. Of course, I didn't go out there and say, I think that, you're going to see Christian McCaffrey get hurt and miss the vast majority of the season. Of course I didn't say that. Why would I say that? CMC is one of my favorite players in the NFL, so why would I want him to get hurt? Why would I mention his name with an injury? All right, NFC South, or NFC West. So I know for a fact I had the LA Rams winning this division, and that was like the one thing I definitively 1000% remembered, because I remember kind of thinking I might get some comments in the, people commenting and saying, what are you talking about? How can you think that? Let's see.
I have Los Angeles coming out on top in this division. Arizona jumping up to second. Seattle going third, and San Francisco going fourth. Now, part of why I have San Francisco at 4, I want to get that one out of the way first. I understand that last year they had a ton of injuries, but the real thing is, how much do you trust Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback? And even when Garoppolo inevitably gets benched for Trey Lance, can Trey Lance lead a team like this? I don't know. I'd love to think so, but I don't know.
Bold, okay. So I had the 49ers coming in last, and I even felt, that's why I got them out of the way first, because I'm like, all right, I might get some heat for this, putting them in last. And I probably shouldn't have put them that low, realistically. I probably should have had them over Seattle. But like I said, I think I made a decent argument, but of course it's me listening to me, so I'm going to try to side with myself. There were definitely chances for San Francisco. I still wouldn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, and honestly, if the Eagles make a trade for Garoppolo, for example, I would not be happy. I don't want Garoppolo as my team's quarterback. I'll take Jalen Hurts any day, because at least he can run, and he's young enough, and he's not on a bad contract, but I mean, all things considered, it is what it is. Seattle, I was just high on Russell Wilson. I'm like, Russell Wilson's going to beat Garoppolo head-to-head. It's just a fact. They got the better receiving core. They at least have a decent running back, but Chris Carson consistently gets hurt year after year at this point. So there's that. Now, Arizona v. LA. I didn't see the super team forming in LA. Of course, you can't predict trades like Von Miller going to that team, but the defense did step up for the Rams. That's why they're here representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Arizona, I didn't predict the injuries that they were going to get, but, I mean, it is what it is. So, I was pretty somewhat accurate. I did get the Rams right. I did get the Cardinals in second right. But then, of course, as you know, 49ers did finish third. Seattle came in last, only team to finish below 500 in the division. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my first time doing a recap video. It was interesting. I've never really gone back and reacted to one of my predictions in the past. I wanted to do the screen sharing thing. I wanted to do it tomorrow, but unfortunately, plans have changed. I can't do a video tomorrow, so that's why we're doing it today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'm going to plug my NFL Hall of Fame week next week, starting Sunday. 6 videos next week, so I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have ourselves some big videos. We're going to have 3 trade breakdowns. We're going to have 2 player battles. We're going to have my summary of the class of 2022. And, of course, yesterday exactly, actually, we did go out and we did have my predictions for how I think the class of 2022 is going to look. If you are interested, I'll give you the too long didn't watch view version right here, who my 5 are. Zach Thomas, Devin Hester, DeMarcus Ware, Andre Johnson, and Tony Baselli were my 5 picks. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely feel free to leave me a comment if you have any video suggestions. And have a good rest of your day. Stay safe out there.